Hello, everybody. Good day to you. Hope you are all safe and good. So today is our third class, and today we are gonna, start our practical sessions. So we do have, two classes fully theoretical based on, Hadoop and MapReduce. So today we are going to, install Hadoop and would like to, configure HDFS and MapReduce, but will not, do a deep dive on MapReduce because in the starting of our class, what we planned that as a distributing computing framework, we will use some basically Apache Spark. And from next class onward, we'll be using Apache Spark theory and practical. So let us recap, what we discussed in the last class. It was based on, two components of Hadoop, HDFS and MapReduce, how it works, and with some practical examples. So today, basically, we are going to configure them in a small cluster so that we understand, what is, how we can, configure a basic cluster uh, and 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 browse our own HDFS and do some basic operations. We also, would like to go through some basic administration and some commands we'll practice in our own cluster. Before going to start our class, I would like to request, please do not start, typing commands in your own machines if you are in front of your machines, because this is the class where you would need to understand, the concepts. And if you need, you can, take some note in your notebook or in your notepad. That would be, great for you, because end of the session, by tomorrow, we'll be sending all the presentations and method of procedures configuring cluster. So if you have a problem understanding any step, then you might be stuck in middle of the process. And we are also thinking, how we can listen to your, problems that you will face while configuring in your own machines and structure. So we'll be coming up with a solution shortly, so that, for example, in a forum or blog, so that we can all collaborate. The problems nature installing Hadoop can be different kind of, can be very basic, medium, or complex. So I believe, we have professionals and different levels of student in our class. So many basic problem can be even solved by our participants. So we can easily help each other so that maximum participant can configure Hadoop clusters successfully. So before doing anything, right? So what we generally follow in any uh, implementation, that we'd like to make a design which we'll implement during our implementation processes. So the first topic is design a Hadoop HDFS cluster in a small form, and we'll try to implement that in our own machines, right? So let's start, designing. So what I have currently now, which has been given from the authority, I have in total 6 VMs, virtual machines. And out of 6 virtual machines, I have a group of machines is already configured with HDFS. But 3 here, if you're, watching 3 virtual machines, so these are only installed with CentOS 7. So we are going to, do all these steps from the scratch. So I will assume, that based on the Cent documentations after our second class, so you'd be able to, install CentOS 7 in your own machines using, Oracle VirtualBox and given CentOS repository. So if you see, it's better whatever you have, you can, make one Excel sheet where you can make your host names, virtual machines host name. Uh, Here I have given, BDRAN, FDL, UDC, F0123, and as it is a cloud machine, so the authority has given, not in a standard port. Generally, the SSH ports are configured with 22. So due to security reason, so it has been configured in a customized port. So we need to, have some additional steps to incorporate this one. But in your own virtual machine, please take note. Maybe you need to use 22 because you may not, configure your virtual machine's SSH port as 2200. It's not required. So you can take a note so that in the respective place where we are mentioning explicitly port equal to 2200, you should be placing 22. And we'll be getting IPs. There are 3 IPs here. These are public IPs. For your ones, I hope you will be having your own private IPs. Operating system, CentOS 7 as we planned. And we are given with some resources. So we have 2 vCPUs, 8 GB RAMs in each, and also 100 gig, virtual storage given. So generally what you will be doing, if you have resources in your machine, please create 3 virtual machines. So within one virtual machine, you will install both name node and data node, right? So as it's a dev platform, we can do, installing name node and data node in the same machine. And other 2 nodes you can install, only data node. So this will be an ideal architecture for you. And if you're having some resource limitation, please drop, required data nodes so that, at least you can configure HDFS cluster in a small scale, but the concept will remain same. So for us to configure, so I am following this matrix here. So based on that, what assumptions that we are taking into account for a Hadoop HDFS cluster is, so we should be able to configure replication factor 3 because we have, if you see, data nodes are installed, in 3 virtual machines. And in which partition we are trying to keep our HDFS storage. If you, can see the screenshot. So this is a partition screenshot has been taken from one of the VM, and all 3 VMs are having identical, partition. So if you see, the root has been given to around 50 gig, and in boot, it has been given around 42 gig. So we are trying to, configure the HDFS name node, data node within the root directory. But ideally, if you notice my CentOS installation guideline, there I would, prefer to keep a separate partition /home where you can, configure your HDFS. So here, based on the given resources, we are going to use the root partition as HDFS storage. SSH port, as I mentioned, that it's 2200 for this installation, and we are going to use the Hadoop binaries, is Hadoop 2.7.1, and we'll be needing the Java, development kit. Jdk is 1.7.0. And here we are using MapReduce framework name Yarn. So I know many bodies will have one question, because in our last class we understood that MapReduce is itself a framework, right? Why you are using Yarn? So I kept one separate slide, just to clarify why we're using yarn. So I'm skipping for now. And for yarn, so we have resource manager. So we will be configuring name node as a resource managers. And for yarn, we will be having node manager. So in the node manager, we will be configuring node manager in all data nodes. And as I said, the name node directory will be within root. So this is the full directory that we are going to configure. And the data node directory, which is also part of root. So the HDFS, I mean, the overall size will be limited to the root partitions. So now, I mean, what is yarn and what we are trying to achieve with yarn? So before Hadoop 2.0.0, so MapReduce is the only framework for distributed computing. But the limitation within the MapReduce framework was that it can only accept MapReduce job. So after Hadoop 2.0.0, yarn has been introduced as a resource manager as well as a job scheduling, I mean, technology, which can accept jobs, I mean, in parallel with MapReduce. So, I mean, we'll see while we'll be using our distributed computing platform, Apache Spark. So we can also assign job to yarn, which is made on Apache Spark, and we can run the Apache Spark job on top of yarn. So which is not possible. I mean, if we are using the MapReduce framework, we cannot, I mean, implement Apache Spark job on top of, I mean, MapReduce framework. So yarn is giving us flexibility to run not only MapReduce jobs, many other jobs we can run, and we can use yarn as a resource manager. So yarn has two basic processes. One is resource manager. You can, I mean, think of like job tracker, what we discussed in the MapReduce framework. And the node manager is installed in all data nodes. So it's kind of, I mean, task tracker. But yet there are some, I mean, fundamental improvements how it's managing, I mean, job and tasks. So, I mean, we are not going to discuss as we'll be using Apache Spark as our own distributed computing framework. So as part of, I mean, our installation and commissioning today, so we'll be configuring, I mean, yarn as well, because we are installing 2. What is our version 2.7.1? So we'll be using yarn, and we'll configure yarn today and see how to start yarn, because that will be helpful. I mean, when we complete our Apache Spark courses, and we can use Apache Spark on top of yarn. So key steps, I mean, that involve configuring a cluster. That let me go through one by one. So the primary step is, of course, a list of nodes that you are, I mean, trying to use in the cluster. I mean, what is the IPs and access credential details and OS, so all, and resources also, CPU, memory, whatever you need. I mean, either you configure or someone has given you the right resources or not. So you need to verify that. This is the first step. And the next, so if someone is assigning you resources, if you are not creating, that you might need to, I mean, need to change the host name as you want. So I would recommend to use the host name using an preferred naming convention, so that it can help you, I mean, later on in fault diagnosis and other purpose. And then, as we are using CentOS, so you can create your own YAM repository, so that if, say, it is accessible through, I mean, internet, and you can create your own, I mean, install, update, I mean, different repositories, which is an optional. And what we'll see, I mean, sometimes it's required. And check and fix your date time is very important. So whenever we are talking about distributed computing and clusters, so synchronizing date and time across the cluster is very important. So timing is very important. So you can check manually your date and time, and then you can fix that. But if you see the step 5 is just configuring a NTP protocol in your all machines so that it's always, synced with higher level time server. Otherwise, if you run a machine for a year, you may see, some seconds or minutes deviations from the standard. So the NTP service will make sure that the times are synced with, real-time servers. And then for here, for our lab purpose, we are stopping firewall. So in CentOS, we have IP tables. We are going to stop that, but please note that it's not going to be applicable for any production system because due to firewall and SE Linux, based on our experience, you might get some, unexpected issues. So that we recommend you to stop that so that, all we can configure the SDFS with minimum challenges. And later on, when you, if you are interested later on, it's part of Linux system administration, you can later on understand, how to configure the specific ports so that, being configured with firewall, still we should be able to run SDFS. And then also the SE Linux, secure Linux, we are going to stop here just for the same reason of firewall. And then we will creating Hadoop users. So these Hadoop users will be the main user, application user for Hadoop in all our machines. And then across the machine, we'll enable passwordless login within so within the cluster using Hadoop user, whenever you are trying to log in using SSH, so the machines will not asking any password. So we'll configure that. And then install our targeted Java version. So if you install CentOS 7, you will see that you will be getting maybe Java, if I'm not wrong, maybe Java 1.8 is already configured. So when you install 1.7, you need to make sure that your 1.7 is getting the over priority and you are still running your binaries of Hadoop on 1.7. So there are some steps to make sure that it's running on 1.7, overriding 1.8. So these are all, prerequisite steps that would need for us to start main Hadoop installation. So after all this step, we are going to upload our Hadoop binaries. So I have already uploaded, you will see. And using, Firefox or, FileZilla or whatever, SFTP tools. And then we'll use Hadoop users environment. We'll need to set some environment variable. And then we'll do common Hadoop configurations. When I say common, the configurations that we are going to, make in the files that has been shown here, around 4 files. So we need to do it in all machines. If you see the impacted nodes is marked as all. So this configuration should be applicable for both name node and data node. So till now, whatever configuration we are discussing has to be completed for all data nodes and name nodes. Coming to the next configuration, it's only been done on name node. So this is name node specific configurations. So SDFS site, master slabs, these are some files we would need to configure, and it's only for name node. So we don't need to configure these for data node. Now, after completing this step, all the name node specific configurations are done. So till now we are using our root users or I mean, Hadoop with root user permission, we are doing all the activities. So now we are changing the Hadoop directory, the parent directory ownership from root to Hadoop user. And then we'll be starting the data node specific configurations. And when the data node specific configuration is done, we also change the ownership of the Hadoop directory specific to data node hosts. And then we are good to start our Hadoop cluster and see whether we are having the expected number of name nodes and data nodes joining in the cluster, and we need to see whether we can see what's else in the SDFS. How can we put a file? How can we overwrite a file, edit a file, remove a file? All the operations we can see. So as we have, limited time and the procedures are all same. So today, we are going to implement. So we'll take only two hosts, two virtual machines, and in one we'll install name node and data node, and the second virtual machine will be, installing data node. So for you, when you work in your own machines, please, follow this one. If you have enough resources, use 3 machines. And if you have some limitation, you can also do like this. Take 2 at least and try to configure SDFS. So the coming to I don't know how the course is going. Seems like we have went through a lot of theories in last 2 class, and today we are going to start SDFS. But we need to keep our spirit till we understand the configuration and concepts of Hadoop and Spark. After that, when we start implementing something, you will get more interest on that. So here we are not going to put more focus on distributed computing framework, as I said. So we'll be mostly focusing on SDFS. And as a distributed computing framework, we'll be giving a deep dive in Apache Spark. And these are some basic administration commands. So we'll see today, if possible, all of them or part of them. So how to start, stop, anyway, we have to do it. Start, stop, yarn, which is, the framework of distributed computing, the latest framework, and start, stop, job history. So if we, what is job history? If we run some job, it will, keep the detailed job history, when it started, when it is, ended, what's the logs. So the job history, if we keep, so it will track all the jobs details. So if something goes wrong, point number 4 is, the SDFS will go into the safe mode. That means, you cannot access the SDFS. So you may need to see why it went to safe mode, and then if you are sure enough to take it to online, then Hadoop DFS, this command you can use. This common problem we see. And if you notice that you have 10 data nodes or more than 100 data nodes, and some data nodes are not coming up in the cluster, then you can start manually specific data node, and also can see specific logs why it's not coming up. So it's just done stop procedure for data node individually. And overall, the DFS status. So these commands will give you a view of how many nodes, name nodes, and then data nodes are online. And also we can see from a web-based view. So all these details using HTTP, and then the name node IP and this port. This port can be customized. We'll use the standard ports, but we can still customize this. And we discussed about Hadoop balancer. So due to many operational issues in a real life scenario, that the blocks may not be distributed equally in all the clusters, I mean all the data nodes. So you can use Hadoop Balancer so that it can reorganize and take almost equal amount of spaces across all the data nodes. And you can see HDFS default block size using this command. It would be, I mean, coming in bytes. So we thought, I mean, we discussed, right? Generally, it's 128 megabytes, but in some large cluster, it can be 256 megabytes as well. And if you would like to know, if you place a file and you want to know, I mean, blocks related to that file, so you can still run a command, the 9th command that is showing here. So we can see today, I mean, if we can complete, we might need to extend, I mean, few half an hour or something, because I'm going to configure the cluster with 2 hosts. I mean within the class, we'll see. So these are some reference command that as a client, I mean as a application from our host file system, we can run in our configure HDFS. So we can browse through their file system, putting a file. There are many ways to use getting a file from HDFS, removing a file, overwriting a file, appending a file, view a file. So ideally, you may be in an administrator role, so or you may be in a developer role, building something over HDFS. So doing all this, I mean, command, knowing the basic things is important. But when we see, I mean, when we make something automated tool, then maybe we're using libraries to connect HDFS automatically, going to a folder, fetching files, putting files, new files, outputs, using Python, I mean, packages. So, but before that, I mean, we need to understand how it is, and as a normal user, how we should be able to browse HDFS, I mean, like we browse in Windows or Linux systems. So that's all finished. So now we are going to, start our practical sessions. So I am going to open my tools, and so you can start, just knowing the resources and all. I have one methods of procedure in my hand. So we'll be sharing details. So today, I hope you can see my screen, right? The doc file.
Yes.
Everything?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll furnish a bit this document and send across to you guys so that you can also, follow this one to configure your own. For the time being, just try to see how I am configuring, and you can take notes. So the primary step, what is the primary step? We need to get the IPs, credentials and all, okay. So if you see, I am going to take these two. So I have already my list in my hand. So I know this machines is configured with this host, and these are the IPs, operating system, and this CPU, RAM, and HDD. So I am logged in with the first so this is the first VM. So this is our host name. Let me verify this one is bdran ftlu dcf01. So this is the host name. And this is our second host. It's already showing. As I'm connecting, over the internet to the cloud platform, sometimes the response is slow. Maybe I have to log in again. Seems this VM is not responding. Let us see the ping response. So let us take the third one, whether we can log in or not. We need at least 2 VMs. Yes, it's responding seems. Okay, we can take these two, 101 and 03. I'm just going to verify the CPU core. Is 2. The connection is too slow. So the CPU was 2. It's okay. And this is for memory. We can see it's around 8 GB memory is assigned. You see, this is the partition. We have around 100, in overall 100 gig file system. So, whatever here is mentioned is for okay for one machine. So similarly, we can check for 02, the CPU's RAM and HDD. And finally, we can check IP address. So if you see, this is loopback interface, and this is the real interface. And we have the, IP is this one, 103.28.1.2.1.5. Yes, this one. Here also we can check our IP address. So this is 103.28.1.2.1.30. This is the third one which we are using. So we are not using the second one. Second one is not responding. So the primary, this one is, okay. Host name we don't need to configure. It's already configured. So it is advisable to, give the entry of the all our cluster machines. So this one is the first machine's IP, and this is the host name, and this is FQDN, which is fully qualified domain name. So for this is an dummy one, so you can create your own. So this is host name and IP. So this host configuration is in etc host that has been done in all the machines already. So it's just manually you can do a beam, and you can copy paste the IP, host name, all. Because the benefit is whenever you are just pinging this one, for example, so it will first go to your etc host and convert this IP, and it is giving you the ping response. So we don't need to remember all these IPs, so we can talk with the host name. If we have DNS, then we can skip this step. So now creating a repository. It's an optional step, but still we can do this one. So we are creating one repository in this directory. Let's go to cd etc yum repos.d. Let us see what is there, and we are doing in fast host. So let us create one new repository. So I can see one repository is installed here. So you can, see if you need to install some package, you can install like this now. So as it has internet connection, it will try to load. So it's not necessary, it's not mandatory, but you have now the repository installed. So in future, if you need to install something, the telnet is already installed. Let us see. The telnet is already installed. That's why it's saying nothing to do. So I hope this has been already done here also. This step. Retreat, it's not. So we have to go to etc yum dot repos. Yes, it has been. Just test it. Try to install Tenant. So I gave, wrong package name. It's not Telnet. So it will give me, a message that there is no package matching with the name. So it's already updating the repo. So that means, both machines are, the repositories are installed. So we have given Federer projects the base URL of the repository. Now, we can check the date time. So according to, local time, it's fine. I think 1648 GMT6. Both are okay. Let us check, whether there is any NTP here. So it's giving, confused. So we can still check whether the NTP package is inactive, is dead. So we can see the ntp.conf. So here we see, so these are the servers is already given by the CentOS. So if we configure NTP service now, so it will take first time from this server, and if not available, then the server 1, 2, and so on. I'm not giving time here, so I'm just prefer to start the NTP service, so the time is always sync with the time server. So if when I check status, it's already started, and it's already started. If you push this command, now it's coming. So when it will take time, you will get one star sign out of these lines. That means the server is taking time from that machine. So coming back to, let us check whether there is nothing, so it's inactive. So we can start here also the NTP service, and it started the second host as well. And we are getting the same output. So it will take some time to be synchronized with one of the server. So the NTP server will give us the UTC time, the standard UTC time, GMT plus 0. And when I mean, our machines will get that UTC time. So we'll add, we'll see what is our configuration in the. So these are all time zone available. So we can see, I mean, what time zone we are in. So it's Asia Dhaka GMT +6. So this time UTC time will be given from the NTP server, and the machine will be adding +6 according to the time zone configuration, and it will continuously, I mean, getting synced with the time server. This is the way, I mean, NTP works, and it works on UDP protocol. So that's all, I mean, for the time being on NTP. So you have all this configuration in the document. So our NTP service is on in both machines. If the machine is started again, I mean, we'll make sure that it's on. So we are configuring NTPD services to be on if there is any machine restart. So now, I mean, we are going to stop the firewalls. So let us check, I mean, what is here. So it's by default in CentOS, it will be active, the package that we have installed. So in real production server, the firewall will be still, I mean, on, and we need to configure accordingly. Let me clear the screen. So we can check now. I mean, hopefully this is stopped already. So it's inactive in both machines. And now we stop the SE Linux configurations. First, I mean, we'll stop with this set and for 0, it will, I mean, disable SE Linux in one host. Now doing the next host, but what will happen if, I mean, we are restarting machine? So it's very slow. Let us check. So it's already disabled. So otherwise, we need to come here and make SE Linux equal to disabled to make sure that if the machine is started again, it will still, I mean, keep the SE Linux disabled for you. I'm checking the second host 0. So all done up to SE Linux. Now I would like to create a Hadoop user. We are slowly going. So it's add user command. So we are still, I mean, keeping Hadoop user under group will, and we'll see why we are keeping in will group. And the shell will be in bash. So it will be a bash shell for the user, and the home directory will be home Hadoop. We have to assign a password. It's all done. Same steps we would need to follow for the second host. I mean, for the simplicity, you can keep the same password in all hosts. It's done. It's better to take records of your passwords in your Excel sheet so that you won't forget. And now we'd like to, assign Hadoop user the root privilege. So we're going to edit one file, sudo ers, and we are going to edit that group. So we kept already Hadoop under wheel group. So removing one line. So this will give Hadoop or all the users under wheel group can run, administrative command without the password. So same thing we need to do for very slow. Sorry, the response from the server is very slow. There's something wrong with my connection. Yes. So we have configured, Hadoop user as this I mean, root user credentials it can use without the password. So initially, when we created, we put the Hadoop user in the will group, and then we configured in sudo ers so that Hadoop can run any administrative command without the password. So now, I mean, as part of the configuration, we are going to configure passwordless login for all the hosts that we are using. So we are using 2 hosts, and we are going to configure the passwordless login. So let us log in with Hadoop in both the hosts. Okay. And let us generate one SSH key which will be shared across, I mean, we have generated one SSH key. We'll be putting this key to other nodes so that we can enable so it will be 3. Let us do for own machine also. So within own machine also it will not ask any password. So sharing our key with own machine. Give yes to here is password is asking. So um, keys added. If you see the number of keys added 1. And now we will be doing for the second one, which is a 3. Give yes. It should ask the password for the destination host. The keys are added. So now it's asking to test whether we can log in, I mean, to the host without a password. So our SSH is 42200, but for your case, if it is 22, you may not need this port configuration separately. You can do SSH without this port -p command, or you can put 20. So you see, I mean, I logged in from 01 to 03 without password. I'm coming back to 1 again. Let us check for the own machine whether it is asking for password. No. So it's done. For this machine, the passwordless login is configured. So let us, I mean, do this one for the 03. Just keep enter, enter. It will create one SSH key. So this should be its own domain 3. EPS Hadoop password for its own machine. So key is added. If we test whether we can log in own machine, it's successful. So we should be able to log in 01. Password from 01 user Hadoop is already added. We can also test this one, whether we can log into 01 from 03 without password. Yes, we can. So it's all done. 9th step is done. Now we need to, I mean, install the targeted Java version. So I mean, we have already, I mean, the uploaded this, I mean, binaries. You see the Hadoop one and Jdk one in root directory, root download directory. Let us check for the third one. I mean, the second host. Yes, it's already uploaded in 01 and 03. So we can move forward to the Jdk installation. So we can, so this is a tar file and gz file. So jetxf, we need to enter this one first. So it's saying it's an, I mean, file located on the root. So Hadoop is a normal user. It should not have the access to enter it. So let us use the power of Hadoop because he has the root connection. We just need to put sudo in front of the. We are in download. Okay. So I think our here I think we have JDK. So the output is here after enter. So I mean we can move this whole directory to user local permission denied because it's part of root. It's already done. So we have enter and move this JDK to user local, and we need to do the similar one. So we have to go to download. You can see here the JXF. It's all saying permission denied because we forget to do the sudo. It's now, I mean, so we have JDK now. Sudo. We are moving this directory to user local. It's moved now. We need to set some environmental variable. So the user local JDK, and this has to be set as a Java home, and we need to create one when we need to add one path to our path environment variable so that whenever we are running commands, so we can get the binaries from the locations. So you are in Hadoop. So this is the directory. I mean, we can define the variables that we want to export. So whenever we are logging into the shell with using Hadoop user, every time this file has, I mean, has been read by the system, and it will keep track all these environment variables set by the user. So here we are setting our Java home. I mean, we have removed, I mean, moved the JDK to the user local. So that is its home directory, and we can access the Java and other binaries, uh, so that we are adding this extra path within our path existing path environment variable, and we are exporting that. So if we now execute again this one, and if we put Java version, so it's still 1.8, and this is installed as part of CentOS, but we need to make sure that this should be 1.7. So we need to override this one using alternate commands. So we are overriding permission denied because we have to do sudo so now if we give the is 1.7 whatever we are, I mean, so that is has been already given as priority 1. So similarly, I mean, we need to do it for the next host, which is 03. This sign is, I mean, it's meaning the Hadoop home directory. So we'd like to, I mean, export these two. Source. Is 1.8. We need to, I mean, ensure this is Java 1.7. So if you notice, I mean, in every step I am proceeding, I am trying to make sure that whatever the output that we are expecting and it's achieved. So that, I mean, we are step by step locking down and making sure that everything is correct in both machines. So I think we can now start our main Hadoop installation. So the first step is to upload the, I mean, binaries, and we already have seen that it's there. It's already there. Hadoop is here, and same is for 03. So we can do, I mean, unrar or untar using the same command as this is the tar days as well. So let us verify, I mean, where we are in Hadoop, let be in, I mean, over there and do sudo tar xf. Okay. So we get this one out of the tar. Let us make it just Hadoop for the simplicity. Oh my God, it's permission denied. So they make it sudo. Is done. So already it's Hadoop. So let's make this directory move to user local. Permission denied. Okay, so it's already moved. Looking for, the second host that we are doing. Okay, we get the expected one. So let's change the name to just simply Hadoop. And move the Hadoop to user local TL. Every time I forget to give sudo, so it's already moved. So, and just we need to set the environment variables. So now the Hadoop is in user, local, and Hadoop directory. So let us just, have a look here. User, local, and Hadoop. So we have been etc include has been share. These are the directories that has been included under Hadoop. So let us see if everything is okay in our fast host. Yes, all are okay. So we need to, similarly, set the required environmental variable here. So we have already done the Jdk part and the Java portion. So we are setting Hadoop home, which is user local Hadoop. We already have seen, and all the binaries are being installed under Hadoop bin and configuration directories under etc Hadoop. So from here, we'd like to put here. Mhm. Please practice, the Vim, how to work with Vim. So I have given one, uh, on documentation. It will be, required to, if you are working in command line, then it will be required to update the file. So now if we see whether our environment variables are working or not, so let's this source, reload it and check Hadoop command. If you see it can relate, locate it, but without doing it, without loading it, it cannot. But if I reload my environments, then you can see, Hadoop can be recognized as a command. It is here according to a designated path. So now, the Hadoop environments are configured. So we can, start the Hadoop configurations. So the first configurations are the common configurations, meaning we need to do it for name node and data node both. So we need to set the hardware environments, port size, yarn size, and map rate size. These four XML has to be updated. So especially whenever we are seeing the hardware environment .sh, there we need to update our Java home, and then if we are using any customized SSH code, that also we have to be we have to update that. But if it is a default 22 port, then you can skip this one. Just update the Java home is fine with the environment configurations. So let us configure the environment first. It's still loading. Yeah, just one. It's very slow. Sorry, I have to log into one again. It has been disconnected. Let me check my internet connection. Sorry for the inconvenience. I just cannot access the machines in terminal. Seems my connection is okay. So the connection is okay. I'm just waiting. The VMs are not even responding. This is also not responding. Then we are facing, problem to access the lab environment.
So can I talk to Arifin Bhai or someone from BDRN for checking the VM?
It would be great. It
Uh,
was okay while I was
okay,
working, but
I'll try.
yeah.
হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম মহিদুল ভাই, আমি ইব্রাহিম বলছিলাম।
Seems okay. Just trying to log in using this. Resources are fine. So we have set it up. Environment variables. Is a local one. Yes.
হ্যালো পলাশ ভাই,
Okay.
I already informed BDRN NOC that checking our issue and they will inform very soon.
Okay. What I'm doing, I'm trying to access, other VM, and from there, I would like, trying to access
Okay.
internally from
Okay,
both
so
VM.
wait some moment, then
I'm proceeding. I'm proceeding. I'm not able to connect directly, but I'm going some other VM via.
okay.
So it's done for one VM. Let us check for the other one. Like 2.3. Yes. So we are logging in, for and then trying to access our desired VMs. This is all out of our cluster. So we have configured for G1. We need to configure the Java home here, and we forget to configure the SSH port, custom SSH port for our environment. So that has to be configured also in one, which I forget to configure. Okay, so environment is done. So we have configured the Jdk as well as the port, custom configuration port. And now as part of core site, so we have to configure the default name of the file system is HDFS, and we need to give the name node FQDN or IP. So we will give IP for the time being. So let us, this is the one. So for us, the IP would be the first one. This is what we are configuring as name node. So we're editing code site.xml. And if you see, the configure tank. So we are setting the required configurations is we need to define the address before name. So address default name, our name node is this one, and it will run on 9000 ports. The protocol is based address. So this one, we can, rather going to 03, we can try to copy over from here. So we'd like to copy the machine 3 in this directory. Permission denied. Is found. So we are trying to sudo the SCP. That's it's not allowing because it's Hadoop and the directory is still owned by root. So anyway, let us configure in the RDM also. And So in the data node also we have configured this one. So the code side is completed. Both uh, name node and data node is configured. Now we need to configure the yarn. So yarn will define the yarn node manager auxiliary service, which is MapReduce Shuffle, and yarn node manager auxiliary service MapReduce Shuffle class is this shuffle handler, and yarn resource manager will be our name node IP. So our name node is this one, and these are all, I mean, you can keep as it is. We're not going detail for yarn now. Configuration is blank. So we can paste all this property here. Still with. So yarn node manager, let's verify the resource manager is our name node. Same, we have to do it for the other node, which is 3. Same configuration. So the yarn site is done, and now we need to, the last configuration is map red site XML. So here we need to define the job tracker address, MapReduce, the basic MapReduce job tracker IP, and the code is working, and the MapReduce framework is yarn. So we have created this one in all the VMs. Just copying on the IP address. So it has to be the job tracker IP, and others we can keep as it is. Still coding. So there is no file with this name. So we need to keep a copy. There is one template. From that template, we need to keep a copy of this file. So by default, it's not coming with a file. So what we are doing from the template, we're creating one file, and then we can, I mean, edit that one. And paste the config list. Something wrong with the paste. This is fine. This is our name node IP address. And job chapter will run. So the same step we have to follow in another VM. Copying the directory. So I believe we have completed, I mean, all the configurations related to the common. So this is the last one. So now the name node specific configuration. That means we have to do all these configuration in the name node. So it's saying whether the ECT host is updated. So we already updated. So if we can check, we can check now. So this is our name node. So again, I think it's having some problem. Try to directly log in. It's yet not responding. Okay. You can log in now. So for name node specific configuration, so we would need to check, I mean, whether the ETC host been updated. It's not even responding. Try to log in from other way. Okay. Finally, it's giving to login form. Cannot even run a command. So the host names are all there. As I shown before. So now, we need to update the HDFS site. So there we need to configure the replication factors. As we are configuring two, we'll give two and the name node name dir. So as we have shown in the slides that we configure user local Hadoop data is HDFS name node. This we will configuring as. So this configuration we have to do only for name node. This is we are doing in 03. No, it's the wrong one. We have to do it for 01. This is the name node. The replication factor is 3. So distribution 3 is 2. As we are configuring two machines, that will be 2. Name node dir will be this one. This file and dot and slash slash, this is a URL like HTTP. So don't bog down with this. The path started from here. Here it's saying that it has not been started with sudo. 01. But the directory that we have provided is not, created. So we configure this one, name node dir and replication factor is 2. But this directory, it's not available. So we have to create it. So we are creating the directory using mkdir command. So it should be on 1. So it's created. Now we need to create some masters and slave in name node. So I'm creating the master file. Now in the master file, we have to provide this one should be the name node. We have created it, so we have to provide, the local host name. So this is our name node. This is the master. Similarly, we need to create the slave. So let us create the slab one in the 01. So you see the slab one is already available, but I'm not getting response again. It's disconnected now again. Ibrahim, is there any, news, because it's very tough to
Till now,
continue.
not, but they identify what's the problem. I call again them and let you know.
So we are in 3. Mhm. So I'm totally forgetting where we are. It's not at all what we.
Hello, Palaj bhai. VMIP 34 and 66.
Mhm.
These two machines are shut down for different issue, maybe traffic issue, but other VM is okay.
But we are not working in 34 and 66, but we are getting intermittently disconnected from 5 and 7. If you see these two VMs, I
Yes.
mean, sorry, first one and third one. Second one we planned, but we could not log in.
Uh,
First one and second one.
First one, second one. Okay,
We
I.
cannot.
But he informed me that only the two IP is shut down.
Yeah. So
But
these IPs are, accessible, but when we start working, it's getting, disconnected slowly. Yeah, that is the problem. So if they just log in and say they can log in, that is not the actual, problem. The problem is they need to analyze the resources and what is the issue actually.
okay, I call them again. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also trying. If I can continue somehow. Sorry, participants, there are some, I mean, in the DM, so hmm, it's better seems now. So we are on, we are trying to configure this step, but we could not try it many times. Let's see this time whether we could do it. This localhost, we need to delete that, and according to our plan, we are configuring both our host as a data node, the first one and the third one. So slabs is already completed. Configuration set. So all the name node configurations are done. So we are just uh, changing the Hadoop home permission from root to Hadoop user. So this is the ownership change command that we need to run on the. So now if we see Hadoop home is being owned by Hadoop now. If we run the same command with sudo in free, will still, it has been, I mean, it's not owned by Hadoop yet in the second host. So now data node specific configurations. So we need to also edit the SDFS side. So as we are installing the SDFS side, I mean name node and data node in the same node, the primary node. So we need to replication factory is already installed there as part of name node, but we just need to add this one, the FS data node data directory. So it's just this portion we need to configure because the other portion we have already. So now we don't need to do the sudo in the primary because it's already owned by Hadoop. So the DFS replication is two as part of the name node configuration. So as we are going to install data node also here, so we need to add one property of data node in the same file. The SDFS site is done not for the other host. This is one. This is the second one. That is not owned by root. We have to configure everything here, starting from so we need to change the replication factor because this one the host where we are only running the I think there is okay. like this. All our let us cross verify once the HDFS in the name node. Configuration the properties, so it should have both all done. But the data node directory we have to create. We have to create in 03. Here we don't need to give sudo because it's already part of Hadoop. So all configuration done in data node. So now we can move the data node ownership to. So this is the pure data node 03. So we are changing the ownership. Now let's check the ownership. So this is owned by Hadoop now. Let us put the group name as well. So that is called Hadoop and will. So data node specific configurations are also finished. So if we just go through the slide, so we have set the Hadoop environments, common configuration are done, name node specific configurations are done, ownerships, we changed data node specific configuration done, all are done. So we are good to, start the HDFS. So let us start the HDFS from the name node 01. Starting name nodes, starting data nodes. First time it will ask, just to say the key starting, it will start the secondary name node, which is okay. So we can run JPS command just to see, so secondary name node, data node. Okay, so we are not getting the name node here. This is 01. So we can always check the configuration, what same. So the data node has started. Data node is started here, but name node is not started. So there's something wrong with the name node configuration. So a lot of disconnection happened that we need to check what went wrong. Let us one more time check the. So etc host is okay. Let us check the HDFS for the one. in DFS replication to the name node and the data. And we have created the master one. It's our the host name is correct. This is the one, and the slaves as we are running data reading both fine. So these are fine. I think let's check the common configurations. Hardware environment is okay. The code side one zero three 28 121 5. It's 900 frames. So it seems this is okay. Yarn should not have any issues. Still solve it. So it will take much more time. Just to troubleshoot, maybe we would need to more time. And not getting any acknowledgement. No name node stop. Yet we can see the name node is not coming. Check. Let us check the name node directory permissions. The permissions are fine. Steps okay. In my view, it should come up, but we need to, troubleshoot why it's not coming. Let us start and yarn and the job space. So the resource managers for yarn and the node manager has been activated. Here also you can see the node manager is here. So name node is still not coming up. So let us see the status. Our IPs is so as the name nodes are not coming up, so we cannot see.
So, Palash bhai,
Yes.
if we face problem, so after the class you can solve the problem, and then the next class you will
Yeah.
share the procedure. The VM may be shut down for the technical issue.
Okay. Yeah, we can. I mean, let update the audience. I mean, what's the issue? Because many times it has been interrupted. That's why
Yes.
I'm also lost. I just need to check what's where it went wrong. But seems like I mean, all other processes started except the name node. So that's why we cannot access the. So if we can see, we cannot access. I mean, the name node is a key one. So just let me check. I mean, whatever configuration we have done in other nodes, whether we can access or not. At least we can see some.
Okay, then can we close today's class?
Just
And
one second.
and
Yeah,
okay, and almost 17 questions. I can download all the question and send you, then make a PDF,
yeah,
then share all of the participants.
yeah. So I mean, in next class, so the configuration is almost done. So we just need to see what happens because many times I have to, I mean, log in and log out due to the network problem. So all the processes according to the, I mean, documentation are coming up except the name node. So we need to see the actual reason why it's not coming up. Okay.
Okay.
And then I mean, we can next class we can take some time to go through all this basic administration which is left over. And I will share the documentation with you, the steps in a more furnished way, so that you can, I mean, create your own SDFS following the steps. Yeah, Ibrahim, I mean, get back to you. I mean, getting back to you.
Okay. So I download the questions and got your answer. Then share over the participants
Yes.
and
So you would, I mean, like to answer now or later?
answer later. No, not at this time. I send you to this night.
Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. I'll answer by tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay. Just send the PDF file for today's presentation. I share.
Yeah.
Okay. So dear participants, we close our class today's for now. Hope to
Mhm.
see you the next class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.